Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome to Alex Builds. Today we have got part 7 of our Revell Into Darkness Enterprise build. Yes, we're actually going to start building some bits today in part 7. So we're going to start off with a base, and what we want to do, let me show you the base first in the instructions. So we've got our instructions and I'm going to show you what we're going to be doing. So we have to start off down here. This is the start of the base. You're going to get these two parts, which is the main piece here of the base, glue them two together. Then we can add these two parts here. And this part at the back is for the Enterprise to rest on, and it comes down over this part here. There is a peg on the top of here. It does tell you to remove that if you want to. I'm going to leave it on because I don't want my Enterprise sliding around everywhere. So I'm going to keep that on, and I'm going to put a hole in the bottom of the Enterprise so that fits in. And then we can get that and secure it to the actual base part itself. Very, very easy. As you can see here, they've left the tab on and it goes through a little hole in the actual Enterprise down there, and it can basically clip in. So we're going to do that, but we're going to want this powered. So in this part here, we're going to have some cables running down from the top down to here, and we are going to use Arduino cables because I've got absolutely loads of these, so I've got loads spare, and they're going to help connect our ship as well and send power up. So we're going to put a power plug that's going to plug into the back of the base bit here and come up through the top into our Enterprise and power all our lights and all our circuit boards that we've got. Yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to build the base. We are going to use the base that was supplied with this kit. Some people do get their own bases, like a round base with a metal pole to run the wires down, but I'm just going to use the base that they supplied and modify it a little bit so we can have our power running through it. So yeah, let's get the parts that we need and start building. Okay, so starting off with a base, this is what we're going to have. I spray painted this black in a previous video, and I've already started putting some masks around the sides here because I'm going to put, there's a little lip just here, I'm going to put a gold trim around there. So we're going to finish off masking this. So we need some masking tape. This is Tamiya masking tape, and what we're going to do is just line that up on here and just keep feeding it across, and then we're going to use some tweezers to get it deep in the groove. So we're going to push that down into there and run the tweezers all the way down, just like that, and that'll give us a nice crisp line in there. That's where we want it. It doesn't matter about down here because no paint's going down here, but yeah, this is where we want, this is where we're going to be cutting it, so we need this good. So just last bit at the top now to do. So just place that onto there and do exactly the same again, pushing it down into the recess and then flat on this edge, and we can fold that over just like that. And now I'm just going to put some more just on the inside just to help that for when I cut it, I'm not cutting it too close to the edge. So you can use as much or as little masking tape as you want. As you can see, I'm using quite a bit, even though the paint afterwards, as you'll see, there's not going to be that much on it. Right, so there we go, we've got that in. Now I'm just going to run this down here again, all the way down this bead, just to make sure it's deep in this crevice, so when I go to cut it with the standing blade, it'll cut it nice for me. Just like that. And now we need a standing blade, and we're going to start cutting this. Okay, so I've got a standing blade, and I'm just going to run this, lay it flat on this edge, and then run it all the way around. So I started from the top. You want to go with the masking tape if you can help it, so you don't rip any off. I'll do this side now. Make sure I've got this top corner. keep doing that all the way around until you've got all the way around. Okay, so I'm going to use these circuit boards as a guide for my height that I'm going to use around the edge. So I'm going to place them there, and then I'm just going to start scoring across the top of here so it's level with where I want it to go. Just like that, and I'm going to continue down this way. So I'm just going to put this just here. Now I'm just going to start scoring down here. Just like that, and I've gone all the way around, so we can see if we've done a good job with that. So we can pick a corner. I'm going to start here, grab the tape and start to peel it away. So once I've removed all the tape, this is what I'm left with. I'm left with this. So if you look at it from down the way, it's going to look like that, but this part that's black down here is all going to be gold. This is on the side of the step here. So I'm going to use this. This is from one of my part works. I think this was from the DeLorean. And yeah, and we're going to get some paint. I'm going to use this acrylic metallic gold that I've got here. So I'm going to put that just in here. So a little squidge in there. Grab yourself a paintbrush and just start painting really. We'll take off a little bit of excess, and then we're just going to start brushing this all the way down here. Make sure it's nice and even all the way around. So once you're done, we should have this gold ring all the way around here. So I'm just going to leave this to dry, and I'm going to apply another coat, and then we'll come back and we'll remove the masking tape. So there we go. This has had another coat of the gold all the way around the sides there, and now it's time to peel off the masking tape. It's all nice and dry, so let's start peeling this off and we'll see what we've got. There might be a few edges where it's not perfect, but we can always tidy that up once we're done. So let's keep peeling this away. I'm just going to use the knife just to help get this up and start peeling that off. And it's got a little leak down here where it's come across and gone under the tape, but that's more my fault than the actual tape itself, and we can tidy that up afterwards. So we're getting there. We've got the bottom half off now, and we just need to keep going until we've got the top half off. So let me just scrape this last little bit off, and we're done. All that masking tape off, and there's quite a few areas, especially on the top here, where I have to clean up, like here, and down here is the worst. I've got a little bit of overspill on here and on here, so that won't be hard to tidy up. That'll be quite easy to tidy up because we can just remask this gold part now, which will be easy. So we'll do that at the end, and what we're going to do is we're going to start fitting the pieces to this, and we're also going to fit this. This is a little button I've made. All I've done is I've taken one of the Arduino buttons, cut an LED in half and made a little button out of it, painted it black and put a little gold on the top. So that's going to come through on here somewhere. I might have it around about here, I think, right at the top here, so we can press the button just there. So we don't need this anymore, the paint, we can move that out the way. So we'll work on this as it is, and then we'll tidy it up after. Okay, so we've got everything else we need and a couple of things I need to show you before we move on. So what I've done is I've drilled some holes in the top just here, and we've used these Arduino cables. These are the jumper cables for the Arduino. I've got absolutely loads of these, so I'm using these so these could be our push connections to the actual Starship itself. So what they're going to do is, say we can take this one and we can push that up through there, and that's going to come out the top, and the pin is going to be here. So when we push it onto the Starship on top of this, it'll connect and give us some power points. Also on the back here, I've filed down enough for this connector to be stuck on the back here. So we're going to glue that in first, and yeah, so let's get that glued in first. So we're going to need some super glue, which I have just here, and we're just going to apply this just to the back here, all the way around, so we can push this on. I'm also going to put some inside here, just like that. Now we can take this and we can push this onto there, and that will hold that there for us while we're working. So we're going to leave that to dry for a second, and we're going to take these jumper cables and we're going to push these through the holes that I've recreated at the top, and that's going to go just in there. So we're going to need a cocktail stick, and we're going to glue these in as well. So bringing back our little pot, because this will help us keep everything neat. A little bit double up of glue just in there. I am using super glue for this. Don't need to use modeler's glue, because all we're doing is gluing this in place. Once you've got your glue in the hole, you want the pointy end facing up, and just push that in so it clicks into there, and get it lined up nice and flush with the top of the base, just like that, just there, so it's nice and flush. Now what we can do is take this, so we can run this down here, and at the moment this is going to be hidden, so I'm just going to use a bit of masking tape just to hold these, stop these wires flapping everywhere. And I'm just going to put that down on here, and that's going to keep these wires a bit tidy for us, just there, just like that. So the grey one is going to be our negative cable for our power, and the positive is going to be to our button, and we're going to have exactly the same on the other side. So this is our positive for our power, and then we need to put the other one in for our negative for our switch. So let's get some glue in this top port here. That should be enough, and now we can push this through. It can be quite difficult to get this through because I have done it really tight. There we go. Just going to have that just there, just like that. Now to do exactly the same, we'll just get a little bit of masking tape, and we can make sure these are flush to the actual side part here, just like that. And that is that part done. So we don't need this glue for a second, so we can move that out of the way. Let me show you what we're going to do next. So next, we can take this part, and they're going to fit together, just like that. And that's got our power point on the back, and we've got all these cables coming out the bottom. So let's get gluing. So let's have all the cables coming out the bottom, and we're going to want some modeler's glue for this. I suppose you could use super glue, but I'm just going to use modeler's glue. And I'm just going to do a bead all the way around, because I don't want this to come apart once I've done it. Make sure I've got it all the way down, just like that. And I can take this part, I'm going to add some super glue into this side. So on the back here, where we put the power point's going to meet up with it, and on the inside there again. And now when we drop this down, it should line up for us. Making sure we've got all the points, all the cables in where we want them, and just pushing that together. So we're going to leave this now to dry for a little bit, and then we'll come back and then we'll glue it to the base. So while that's drying, we're going to keep working on here. So we're going to have a hole here for our button. So I'm just going to put a little hole right spat bang in the middle here. So I'm going to see where this runs up to. It's going to end on there. So I'm going to put the button right here, right in the middle, and I'm just going to very, very gently drill a hole in it. So we go, that is a hole in there. I'm just going to put a little bit of black paint in there. I do have some black paint somewhere. So I've got a little tub of paint here, and this is number 33 black of the model paint from a previous model I've done. I'm just going to put a little bit of this inside this hole here, just so it hides the white, because you can see the white again, obviously from the inside of the base. So we can just paint the inside of that just black, and that'll hide any white parts that we got. So wipe away any excess. I am going to be spraying this into a black to tidy up all of these areas here, so we don't have to worry that everything around here is going to be tidied up. I'm just going to file off some burrs I've got on the back as well. So let's put this paint away because we don't need this anymore. And let's quickly tidy up any burrs on the back that are going to get in the way of our button sticking on there. So we'll check on this. This is gluing away nicely, apart from the front here. So I'm just going to put a little dollop more glue because I think I missed a piece. Yeah, I did. And I'm also going to wrap some masking tape around it just to keep that nice and flush. So I'm going to take this off for a sec, get some masking tape, and I'm going to pull that tight. And that's going to hold that tight for us, just like that, because this wants to gap for us and we don't want a gap in there. So that's one part. I'm going to do another one just to be sure. That should give us something to grip onto now with this, because it will just want to slide before. Yeah, that's better, he says. So we're going to keep that on there, just like that. We're just going to set that to the side and we're going to carry on with this. Okay, so now we've got the hole drilled in our base for our button to go. We've got a hole for our wires to go through, and we've got this gold trim that goes all the way around now. So there's only a couple more steps to do. This is all nice and dry now, so let's get this all finished. We can take the tape off of this and we can finish this off. So let's take the tape off. I might have to touch up the paint on here, just here where it went through, but yeah, so we can basically feed all of these wires through this little hole here. So let's start doing that now. Just like that, and we can push that into there, and that's going to sit just on there, just like that. So our wires are all coming out the bottom. So we're going to have all the ones, the red is going to go to the red, the black is going to go to the grey, and these two are for our switch. So we can leave that out for a moment. So I'm just going to glue on the back of our power outlet. So let's get that glued on. So I apply some glue. I did cut this off. This is for the power thing that I'm using is actually the 12 volt adapter piece for the LED light strips. Now we can push that on, and then that's going to get secured onto the back of there, just like that. So now we've got that in there, I'm going to turn this over, and I'm just going to put some modeller's glue just on the inside here, just on these tabs, just to keep it in place. That's going to help fuse that together. All the way on each tab, because this is quite a loose fit. So just like that. So we need to give this a few moments to dry. So while we're doing this, we can make sure we push this right down so we've got it nice and flush to the base. So I'm going to lay that down flat and keep some pressure on that for a moment. And the only other thing we need to do is put this piece in the top. This is what's going to be resting on our Enterprise. It's going to be resting on. And now we can fit this into here. Just like that. Now that's in there. So now at the top, let me show you the top. So we've got this piece which the Enterprise is going to rest on. We've got our 4 pins, 2 for our power, 2 for our switch, and then we've got like a mounting peg so we can mount the actual Enterprise to the actual part itself. Okay, so let's get dealing with some wires. So we're going to want the 2 that are red, and we're going to twist them together basically. So I'm going to try and move, let's get some tape, and let's move the 2 for the switch out of the way because we don't need them just yet. Just going to move them just to the side, just there, and these are the ones we're going to be working on. We've got 2 red and a grey and a black. So the grey and the black are going to go together, which I'm going to twist the ends all the way together, just like that, and I'm going to put some solder on there as well to solder them together, and I'm going to do exactly the same with the red. Just like that. And now we can get some solder and we can solder these 2 points together. And then when that's done, that's what we should have. Just like that. I'm just making sure that this is flush in there. So now, for the moment, I'm just going to tape these to the side, and we don't want them anywhere near each other. So let's take this, and we can push this just to the side for a moment, and we're going to hot glue this down so it doesn't move at all. So that will be fine there, and now we can hot glue this down. Don't have to be really neat with this because this is going to be underneath the base, and yeah, it's not going to be visible, so be as messy or as sloppy as you want. Just like that, and that's them 2 now in place. So we've got a positive and negative for our power, and I'm happy with that because it's underneath the base, you ain't going to see that. So now there's only a couple more steps to do. So we're going to be doing our switch now, so we can take these parts and we're going to be soldering these. So we're going to cut the ends off because we don't need the ends, and we need to strip the wire back so we can get to the bare wire. There's one. Right, so this is I'm gonna have this stretching over to here. So make sure you twist the ends because you can get a better connection if you twist the ends. We're not going to have frayed ends anywhere. We're going to be soldering this to our button, so this is going to be rather difficult to do, but I'm going to try my best because we're going to solder this to the pin of the switch. So that one on, make sure it's all the way down. I'm just going to solder this on now. So if you've never soldered before, you want to get a little bit of solder on the end of a clean soldering iron and put it underneath, and then the solder goes on the top, and the solder will work its way down through the wires and solder itself to the actual pin. That is one side done, and now we just have to do the other side. So the orange one is going to be going on the opposite side, just here. So I've done this one on the left hand side at the top. This one now is going to be going at the bottom on the right hand side. So we need to do exactly the same. We need to wrap this round. Just like that. Now we can solder this one into place as well. And that is our button all ready to go through the hole. So now what that's left to do is just to put the button on the hole. So just at the bottom of the hole, I'm going to put some super glue just around the edge, just there, and then we can get our button and we can push that through the hole. Just like that, and that's going to come through the other side. So I just need to hold this for a second, just test it, make sure it button presses, which it does, and then we can hold that onto there. And now I'm just going to use a little bit more hot glue just to secure this into place. So that is fine, that's that all done. Now we can turn our hot glue gun off because we don't need that anymore, and it looks a bit of a mess underneath at the minute, but when we turn it over we can't see any of that, and our button is there ready to be pressed. So the only thing left to do to our Enterprise is to put the decal on, because we've got a decal for this. Let me show you where the decal is. If you go to your decal sheet, and let me move this out of the way for a sec, it's this one right here. This is like a plaque piece, so we're going to cut this out of the actual decal sheet, and then we're going to apply some water to this. So very, very carefully we're going to cut this out. So use a straight edge if you've got one. I'm going to use this old board and just cut along and cut it out. Now you can, if you want, you can use decal solution or something like that when you're actually doing this, but I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to be just using plain old water. So you're not we're doing this on a budget, and you're not going to need anything fancy. Now we can take this out because we've cut it out. Oh, just a little bit in the corner here. There we are, there's our decal off. We can put our decal sheet away because we ain't going to need that again for a while. And yeah, that's it. So all you're going to need is some water, and you can drop that in the water. It will curl, but don't worry about it, it's just going to soak on there for a moment. And you're also going to need some cotton buds, which are these here. So in the UK, I call them cotton buds, but you might call them Q-tips or something like that. But they're basically little cotton balls on the end of a plastic stick, and you basically use them for cleaning out your ears, but we're going to use them to help spread our decal. So there we go, you can see it moving on there already, so that's ready to come off. So we can apply a little bit of water where we're going to put it. So I'm going to put this just here. So let's get a bit of water, let's take off the excess, put a little bit of water just where we want it. And now we can move this decal onto the base, just like that. And now we can spread this down, making sure we've got no bubbles or anything underneath, and get it exactly where we want it. So I'm going to go with just about there. And we can take a dry one, and we can take off some of this excess water as we're brushing it along. That'll help take away any bubbles that we've got. I'm just getting it perfectly lined up where I want it. I'm happy with that there, just like that. So that is it, guys, that is our base all done. We've got our decal on there. If I can get this to focus. So it's got the USS Enterprise NCC 1701, to boldly go where no man has gone before. And we've got our button here, we've got our gold trim round, we've got our power outlets coming into here and then coming up to here. So I will give you a demonstration of how this is going to work. Okay, so I've done a quick little mock-up, and what we've got here, we've got our 5-volt converter, a red and a blue LED, because we're going to be testing the warp and nav from the power from our base. So we've got the power coming in, that's going to be from our 12-volt plug, through this switch here, into the base, up through the base, into our 5-volt converter, over to our warp and impulse board, and then that's going to come into the switch and into the LED. So let's plug this in and give it a little test. So flick the switch on, red LED comes on because we want to start in impulse mode, and when we press our button it should switch to the blue for our warp mode, just like that. So that's it for part 7, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. But yeah, there's our display base there. We've got a little button down here. We've got our little plaque on the side here. And we've got our power pins now up here and our power point to plug into on the back there. So coming up in part 8, probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to concentrate on the secondary hole, get that all done and start building the enterprise from the bottom up. So we're going to get the power points in that's going to connect to the base. We're going to get them in. We're also going to put in the lights that's going to light up the windows, and obviously put the windows in, connect it all together and glue it all nice and tight, and then we can start building the enterprise up, putting the main hull on in a future video, and the warp nacelles in a future video as well. So I hope you liked this video, guys. If you did, please leave a like down below, and if you haven't already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Till next time, guys, take care. Bye bye.